Phil Harding here with Burris to talk about the handheld thermal optics. So we've got two different sizes here, the handheld 35 and the handheld 50. As you can see, I've got two very different lenses on here. What you're going to notice out of that is magnification is going to be your biggest difference. This one's going to be 2.3 to 9.2x roundabouts, and this one will be 3.3 to 13.2x. For the European market, we actually have an additional unit of the handheld. This is the H50. This has a smaller objective lens with a different magnification of 1.7 to 6.8. All the same features as the 35 and the 50, just in a slightly smaller, less expensive package. So you're going to definitely get a wider field of view out of the 35, but more magnification out of the 50. When you're using these, focus the image by turning the objective right here. It's got this nice rubber knurled ring so that you've got a solid feel on it, whether you're wearing gloves or not, or if it's wet, or whatever it happens to be. And then just dial that to focus the image. Turn it on. We've got our power button right here. Press and hold to turn it on. You'll get a little green indicator light here, indicating that it is indeed on, as well as you'll see the image in there. Press and release to cycle the image to perform a nuke, and recycle the image to get a little bit better image quality. Press and hold, and if you release while you're pressing and holding, you get a little power bar cycling across your screen. If you release during that power bar, it will turn off the display, allowing you to save a little bit of battery. And if you let the power bar fill up and then release it, it'll turn the unit off completely. Outside of that, we've got our main operation buttons right here, an up arrow, a down arrow, and our mode button. The up and down arrows are going to adjust some of the basic functions, as well as if you press and hold, they will operate the smooth zoom from 1.0 to 4.0x. And then this button back here, this does have onboard storage, so we can record video and pictures. Press and release for a picture, press and hold for a video. Now, before we touch on basic settings, I do want to point out the power source for this. It does have an internal battery, 600 milliwatt hours. We have our charging port right here. USB-C should work on the same as a lot of modern stuff these days. We've also got a little micro HDMI out. Works just like a micro HDMI out. Plug it in any monitor you like. But that charging with USB-C is how you keep it juiced up. Now on to some basic settings. So for some of our basic quick menu options, we've got our up arrow that's going to cycle through our different scene modes. As you can see here, I've got enhanced, highlight, nature, and those are basically going to adjust your brightness and contrast to make the image look a little bit better. If we press the down arrow, however, what that's going to do is change our color palettes. We've got your standard white hot and black hot, as well as our signature red hot, iron, and blue hot, and both of those are kind of your multicolor images and color palettes that are going to add a lot of color splashed into your image. Then if we press and release our menu button, we get our quick menu options. These are fast features that we might want to have access to pretty quickly, such as picture-in-picture, screen brightness. That's going to save you a lot of eye fatigue if you turn your brightness down, especially at night. Your stadiometric rangefinder, which you can use to measure a target and estimate how far away it is. Your hot tracking toggle, and then your super energy saving mode, which as your battery gets lower, which you can see in the upper right hand corner, you'll be able to determine when you need to turn on that super energy saving mode, maybe get a few more minutes of operation out of it. Now we're going to go into the main settings or the advanced menu. To do that, we're going to press and hold the mode button. And this menu is going to start with image quality adjustment, calibration model, Wi-Fi, and so on and so forth. We'll start with that image quality adjustment. So when we are in this menu, we'll do a quick press and release to go deeper. When we press that on the image quality adjustment, we'll then see image enhancement. That is a software powered image boost. So what that's going to do is kind of accentuate the quality of the image. Totally a personal preference thing on whether you like it or not. And then below that, we've got scene mode, which is that enhanced nature and highlight setting from the quick navigation buttons. and color palettes. Color palettes is the fun one for sure. This is the main menu option to cycle through the color palettes, where you can actually see black hot, white hot, red hot, iron, and blue hot, as opposed to cycling through them using the quick button. To back out of these menus, by the way, go ahead and press and hold, and you'll go ahead and back out to the next menu up. After we have the color palettes, we've got our image brightness and image contrast. Now, I do want to specify that the image brightness and contrast that are in the image quality adjustment settings are not the same as the screen brightness. Screen brightness is the OLED screen that you're actually physically looking at, and the backlight that is powering it. And the brightness setting within image quality adjustment is actually an image-based brightness, so it's kind of like exposure if you're used to that. Now, if we back out of image quality adjustment, again by pressing and holding to back up to the next menu, we can come down to calibration model. Now, this is going to change how your nuking takes place. It comes set to automatic from the get-go, and what that does is when the scanner senses that its image is starting to get a little bit of noise, it's going to automatically close the shutter, freeze the image, and reset itself. Sometimes that can get a little annoying if you're panning across the field and all of a sudden it freezes up on you. It's not actually broken, it's just recalibrating its image. But if you want to turn that off, there's two other settings you can use. You can select scene, which is basically going to be a full manual calibration. If you detect that there's some noise and you want to clear up the image, you'll actually have to physically put the cover on and then press the power button to calibrate the image. Alternatively, you could select shutter, which still allows you to use the automatic shutter feature, but it will not automatically engage a nuke. It will wait for you, the user, to decide, yes, I want to nuke this image, press the power button, and it will nuke just like normal. And then finally, Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi settings are going to be important if you want to pair this up to your phone and record the images and control the whole device from your phone. So we'll go ahead and hop into that and turn Wi-Fi to on. When you do that, what you see in the top center of the image is the name of your device. So that's the network that you're going to want to connect to with your phone. So we're going to go ahead and connect to that with our phone right now, and I'll show you how that gets done. Alrighty, so we have a link to the app here below. Feel free to get that downloaded if you want to connect to the thermal via the app, and I'll walk you through that connection process now. We've already turned on Wi-Fi on our thermal handheld, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to our app, select it here, and then we're going to have to connect to Wi-Fi. And what we'll do there is turn on our own Wi-Fi, and we'll need to select the proper network. Now this one is Handheld TI340F, so we'll go ahead and connect to that. The default password is usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You do have the possibility of changing that within the optic itself. And once you are connected, you can back on out and go back into the app. What's going to change is on the app, it's going to say enter. It's going to be lit up as a button. Of course, you can use the connection guide, get your instructions on getting into the app. You can check your photo album of anything that's already on there, or hit enter to get into the live feed from the thermal. And as you can see there, we have an image. Now, from this spot, we can actually control a lot of the thermal. We can select in the top right of the app, we can find these 3 colored circles and change our color palettes. As you can see, I've got my 5 different colors there. Select whichever one's your favorite. I can go to my gallery in the bottom right and see everything that's stored locally on the handheld unit or remotely on the phone. And you can select whether you're saving to the phone or the handheld by using the app. Now on the left side here, we've got different settings. At the top, the image that looks like mountains is your image enhancement settings. Obviously our nature enhanced or highlight modes. Down below that, we've got our little ruler. That is our stadium metric rangefinder. And as you can see, it puts up 2 horizontal lines. You can use those horizontal lines to measure your target. And up in the top left corner of the app there, it's showing rabbit, boar, or deer, and how far away it would be if it's matching those lines. In the middle there, we've got our contrast and brightness settings. We can use a little sliding scale to change our contrast and brightness and enhance our image in a way that we find good to look at. And below that, we've got 3 horizontal dots. That is our special settings. So that's our hot track, our image enhancement, or our picture-in-picture. And the picture-in-picture is kind of neat because what that's doing is it's going to add a zoomed-in image in the middle of our main image. So kind of up in the top right corner, you can also change whether you want in the top left or the top center is a zoomed-in image of what you're currently looking at in the center of the screen. You can turn that on or off from here. And there we go with our hot track is the same setting to highlight and put a crosshair over the hottest part of the image. We can turn that on or off through this setting as well. And the last one here on the left is our main settings. That is more for the app. We can change our different Wi-Fi settings, adjust our password, view our password, change our different ways of doing compensation, indication, time, date, watermarks, etc. And then finally, the last thing that we have is more towards the right. We've got a little circle that is our shutter for the camera, or a video camera just below it. If you swipe between camera and video camera, just like your phone's camera, you're swiping between photo and video mode. And of course, when you have the app set up, its default is to record to your phone. So that is a nice benefit. So you're not eating up all of the storage space on your handheld. And that is the app functionality. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you have any questions specific to the thermal optics, feel free to check out burrisoptics.com or check the link in the description.